Everybody loves a Moscow Mule. It's one of the simplest cocktails to make. It's just vodka, ginger beer, and a little bit of lime juice. Couldn't be better, right? Well, unfortunately, if you're going no carb or avoiding sugar, it's gonna be a tough one to make.
So today we are gonna make a no-calorie version of the Moscow Mule, so stay tuned. So Moscow Mule is vodka. Ginger beer is typically how you do it, but we're going to kind of work our way around that. So it's going to be the xylitol simple syrup and the ginger juice with carbonated water, so soda water.
It's kind of like a homemade ginger beer.
Right, exactly. And then we'll add a little bit of lime juice to just kind of add a little bit of interest and kind of make it a more interesting cocktail. So let's go ahead and make this guy, shall we? Let's see. There we are. And would you mind grabbing a jigger out of that first drawer there?
Right. There's a bell for you.
Perfect. So thanks again, Tom. We're going to take your vodka out for a test drive again. So we're going to do 2 ounces of vodka. Just add that straight to the mule cup. And I'm going to go add 1 ounce of the xylitol simple syrup. And now I'm going to start off with about 1/4 of an ounce of this ginger simple syrup because it's pretty intense.
Or that's just the ginger juice, right?
Ginger juice, yes, okay. Absolutely.
So you're just going to taste it as you go and see what gets you
pretty
the right
much.
Balance?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think that you should add the citrus first?
Let's try that as well.
Ah.
Careful. It's getting dangerous over here. All right. And usually about half a lime of juice. It's about 1/2 ounce there.
All right.
Perfect.
So far, so good.
There we are. And then I'm going to go ahead and add about halfway up the glass of soda water, and then we'll add some ice to it. And give it a try. We can always add more ginger, so we can really tailor this to however strong or spicy you want it.
I suspect we're going to need one of these.
Cool. Give it a stir, and would you like to do the honors?
I'll take my chances.
All right.
It looks great. Oh, that's really good. Give that a taste. The sweetness feels about right to me. But I don't get a lot of ginger.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit more.
Yeah.
So that was 1/4 ounce, so I'm just going to add another 1/4 ounce of ginger. So now we're up to about 1/2 ounce. Once again, give it a stir. And the xylitol didn't really have kind of a funky aftertaste, which I was expecting, because a lot of the other like NutraSweets and sucraloses and Splendas and all those things, they had that real interesting chemical aftertaste to it. But the xylitol was actually pretty clean as far as aftertaste went.
I definitely get the ginger on that one. And what's nice about it is it's such a fresh, bright ginger too. Mm-hmm. More so than what you might get with your typical ginger beer, because ginger beer has to be processed and packaged and stored and shipped and so on. But this is about as close to one of these as you're gonna get.
Yeah, that's really good. I would say
it is pretty good.
I like mine a little bit more spicy, so I think I would probably go a little higher on mine.
Go to town.
So I'm going to do 1/4 ounce more. So we're up to about 3/4 of an ounce of the ginger juice.
And I will say that this, in case you didn't notice, this is a very fresh piece of ginger. If it's been in the bottom of your fridge for a week, like we often do.
It might be more intense because a lot of the water is probably seeped out of it. So it's probably a little bit more concentrated.
Which is all the more reason to kind of just do this to taste. Certainly we'll give you our recipe, the one that we end up with, but
ooh, yum.
I think that's a good sign. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, nice and spicy. You kind of get this long ginger flavor to it.
That is good.
Yeah,
you win.
Very
That's
tasty.
Good. That's really good. And I
so,
definitely don't get any sort of chemical aftertaste. I will say it doesn't taste quite as full as a true simple syrup, But again, I mean, that's a tall order to fill, right? You're still, this is a sugar-free drink.
Right, absolutely. And I think for a sugar-free alternative to a Moscow Mule, it's pretty stinking good. It
is really good. And the nice thing there, I think, about this recipe is, you know, a lot of cocktails, when you make them sugar-free, the cocktail recipe itself used to rely heavily on sugar for the final flavor. But this one, because we've got that fresh ginger in there, it is all about the ginger.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
And as a result of that, it's okay if maybe the sugar isn't quite as full of a flavor as it used to, because you're too busy going, holy cow, that ginger is so good.
Yeah, that's really nice. I like that. Now, the one thing I'll say about this particular version of the Moscow Mule is never going to be as carbonated, because you're diluting all that carbonation down. Now, if you had like a Soda Stream or a soda maker, like an Izzy soda canister, I would probably charge this through that. And then you would get all this really beautiful carbonation to it as well, which is the one thing we're missing.
Is that because of the extra liquid in the ginger juice and in the simple syrup?
Right, exactly.
Got it. So maybe you could try playing with a rich simple. Like a xylitol rich simple. Because you do need some water in the ginger juice, of course, just to get it through the process. But,
right, absolutely.
You know, I could see playing with that to maybe keep the carbonation higher if you don't have access to a carbonation machine, or if you have tried it and seen it explodes. We may have tried that.
We've done that a few times.
Not everything ends well in a carbonation machine. You ever notice the back of the machine, it says, like, don't put anything except water in this or it voids the warranty?
There's a reason for that. I've broken a few. So anyways, the other thing that you could do, just kind of, because water is kind of the enemy when it comes to carbonation, like adding things to it, is take out the water from the ginger juicing and just use a xylitol simple syrup to get that, to have the water. The one thing about that is you don't have any control over the flavor. So once you dial in your recipe for the ginger syrup, then it should be easy to do and over and over again, and have that a little bit more intensity.
You can batch that.
Yeah, absolutely. But
I think that's a huge success, in my opinion. I wish you could taste it. It is delicious. And again, I'm being really nitpicky when I say it doesn't have quite the fullness and mouthfeel of sugar. Of course it doesn't. But I don't know that I would, if somebody handed me that,
I'd be pretty happy.
I don't know that I would even say, hey, that's not real sugar. I would say, wow, that ginger is amazing. Yeah,
it's really good. I'm actually very happy with that.
Yeah.
So if you are going sugar-free this month or low sugar, this is a really, really good cocktail. I will probably...
You're proud of yourself, aren't you?
I'm pretty happy with it.
He's giggling.
So yeah, I think that's I want to call that one a success.
I think so. Now you drank so much, we're gonna have to make another one and take pictures.
Yep, sorry.
Well, I mean, since we can't use it anyway.
But this just kind of goes to show that once you have your base syrup down and kind of dialed in, which I think we do, I think we're pretty committed. The xylitol makes a great alternative to simple syrup. Now you can kind of go different directions with this and really have some fun. So tea syrups are full. You know, you can do anything with that because there's no calories in it. I would stay away from fruit for obvious reasons.
Sure. But I would love to hear if anybody out there has done some further experimentation. I mean, goodness knows, syrups, you could do anything with syrups. And like you said, tea syrup, you know, there's all sorts of things you could do. Have you tried anything with the xylitol and found it just didn't work?
Yep.
I'd love to know myself. I think that would be really, really interesting. Have we tried it with egg whites?
We have not.
Ooh.
I know, we're gonna have to try that.
I know.
With egg whites.
If anybody out there has tried it with egg whites, I think, was it last week? I don't remember. Recently we did a test where that's what it was. We were making a sour just without the simple syrup altogether. And we made it normally. I'm sorry, not normally. We made a sour without the egg white, without the simple syrup, and it was like really tart. And so we said, well, let's try it with egg whites. Maybe that'll help round out the flavor.
Right.
Maybe it'll help mitigate that like really tartness. And I thought it was a great idea, for the record. Chris, skeptical.
A little bit.
Turns out Chris is right, which happens sometimes, and I really hate
Only when it comes to cocktails.
So he made the cocktail, and it was just scrambled eggs.
It started to curdle and cook, and it was like an appetizer in your cocktail.
It was like a ceviche cocktail. Yeah, it was all bad. It was so
chunky is a good word descriptor for that.
I don't know if it's a good word because of how it turns my stomach, but it's the right word.
Right, absolutely. So talking about geeky experiments.
So not everything works, and I don't know that xylitol would actually be enough of a buffer in a, say, whiskey sour to prevent your eggs from scrambling.
We'll have to try it.
We'll have to try it.
Yeah, absolutely. So just one other little nerdy experiment that I did with this.
See, most people, when they have like little tiny baggies around their house with questionable things in them, it's not this.
Yeah, so I actually made an oleosaccharin out of xylitol and orange peels.
Oh, really?
How cool is that?
Have you tasted it?
Nope. But
are you gonna?
It smells awesome. It smells so good.
I mean, it looks like it pulled out the oil, doesn't it?
It did really well, and this has probably been about 3 hours.
If you didn't tell me, I don't know that I would have. Visually, I don't know that I would have known that this was not sugar.
Right, absolutely. So I think in another hour or two, this is going to get like perfect.
The orange oil doesn't feel quite as fragrant. Is that just me?
No, I think, like I said, a couple more hours is going to pull that out, the oil. And I'm hoping that, as you can see, it's not breaking down the xylitol like it would with sugar. So I'm hoping that the oils help dissolve some of the xylitol a little bit more. But either way, I think this is a pretty big step as far as no-calorie options as well. Punches are fair game now too.
Absolutely.
So this could be a lot of fun.
Well, I mean, and this you could play with making your own orange liqueur.
Right.
There's a lot you could do.
There's a lot of fun stuff here. Whoop, and I dropped it.
Do you see what I'm saying? He's throwing things at me now.
That's what happens when I have a cocktail at 12:30 in the afternoon on a Friday.
This. It's for your own good. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Yeah. I think that's probably everything we wanted to cover today.
That's pretty much it.
But yeah, I mean, I think the moral of the story is that xylitol and Moscow Mule. Pretty good. Yeah, definitely worth a try. Definitely worked. I think if you can find xylitol, I'm sure it's on Amazon. If you're going to be doing no sugar, especially more than for a month, this might be a good thing to just kind of keep in your cabinet. It's a great option. You can make small amounts of the simple syrup a la minute, and then you can do cool stuff like this. Yep, absolutely. So there you have it. We have our no-calorie version of the Moscow Mule. Now the only thing left to do is to add a little crushed ice to the top and your garnish. So in this case, we did a little bit of lime peel and some mint just to add some color to it as well. It adds a nice aroma. Yeah, absolutely. But it's delicious and definitely worth a try if you're going no-calorie.